Give me a D and a G. It's the Dunga Show. It's the Dunga Show.
Hey, coffee lovers, Doc here to tell you about our favorite new brew, Green Army Coffee.
That's right, dog. Green Army Coffee isn't just delicious, it's coffee with a mission. They're veteran-owned, and every cup supports those who serve.
You can taste the dedication in every roast. Whether you're fueling up for the day or winding down, they've got the perfect blend for you.
And it's not just great coffee, it's a way to give back. Supporting Green Army Coffee means you're supporting our troops and their families.
So what are you waiting for? Grab a bag, sip smart, and support a great cause.
Check them out at www.greenarmycoffee.ca. Green Army Coffee, brewed for those who serve. Hey, dog, your beard's looking flickin' great, my man.
Thanks, Gus. I've been using the Bush Beard Wash.
The what now?
At Bush Beard, they know that every man with a beard is a unique beardo. And that's why they offer a wide range of products to cater to every beard's needs. Whether you have a long and luscious mane or prefer to keep it short and sharp, their products will help you achieve that perfect look.
From the nourishing beard oil and balm to the refreshing beard wash, their products are made with all natural local ingredients to keep that beard healthy, soft, and lustrous. The beard comb and brush are designed to detangle and shape your beard, making sure you always look your best.
At Bush Beard, they're dedicated to providing the best possible grooming experience for all the beardos out there. So why settle for an average beard when you can have a glorious, well-groomed one? Try Bush Beard products today and unleash the full potential of your beard.
Be sure to use Dog and Gus 10 and get 10% off your order.
Bush Beard, the small town brand with the big old Canadian heart. Welcome to the Dog and Gus Show.
What was were you a little nervous there?
Oh yeah, it's, our 170th show. I'm really nervous.
Yeah, you're back in the studio though.
I know.
Last couple of weeks ago you weren't in it.
No.
So, yeah. What do we got going on today, bud?
We're going to talk with Jade Hilton today.
Hi, Jade. How are you?
Hi, guys.
Than's for joining
Dog
us.
and Gus, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was happy to have you. We've been following you for a bit. We listened to your music. We obviously, you had a great tour this year. So tell us a bit about that. Was it a really exciting experience? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was my first time going on tour, so I'm pretty excited about just how well it went. You never know what to expect when you hit the road and do anything for the first time. And I was grateful to share this tour with Schoolhouse and Clay Hazy, who are very talented artists, bands.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Nice.
Oh, it's me?
If you'd like.
Sure. Jade, can you tell us a little bit about your style of music? What would you say? If you're going to explain it to somebody, what would you say?
I would describe it as country pop, maybe a little bit of folk fusion. I actually started writing and creating music more of an indie pop space, but this year I decided I wanted to take more, I guess, like a rootsy approach. So I'm in the middle of working on my first country album, which will be coming out in 2025. But, all the country spaces in Canada and Nashville have been so welcoming to me, and I really feel like I've found my space in country music.
Oh, that's awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah. Considering you're from Toronto.
Center of the universe.
Easy. What part of Toronto, by the way?
Well, it's the West End. I grew up in Mississauga, but I live in Liberty Village now.
Oh, nice. Okay. My
yeah.
sister's in the Junction, so she just moved there. Yeah,
That's not too far. I like
exactly.
The Junction.
Yeah. But your country, like where you found your voice in country, is from when you went to school. Is that correct? When you were in Illinois?
I think it definitely played a part. I lived in Illinois for 4 years, Southern Illinois, because I played on the tennis team there. And I think country music, there's like a lot of American culture. And a lot of my friends in Illinois loved country music. And coming from Toronto, that's not really something I grew up on. But being around it, and I also was in a band in school, I started to kind of find my voice. And I really like country music, even though I didn't grow up on it. But I did love Taylor Swift, though, who's like pop country. So, there's always been a love for country.
Have you heard of Taylor Swift?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
It's a she, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's a rocket, man. She's been cruising through an amazing tour, setting records more than Michael Jackson did, man.
She's a force,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
If you're going to pattern yourself after anybody, that'd be the one to do
Yeah,
it, for sure.
it wouldn't be a bad one. Yeah.
It would not. It would not.
It's definitely the reason why I play guitar and write songs. So
There you go. Yeah.
big Taylor fan.
That's awesome.
Fair enough. Tell us about I'm always hooked on I love the idea of the Alma combo. I haven't been there yet. I will get there one day. That is like my go-to venue that I want to go to. And you've played it.
Yeah.
So how was that?
Come to the tour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were talking when Schoolhouse and Clay Hazy and I decided we want to go on the tour. We were looking for venues. And I originally had met Clay Hazy at North by Northeast Music Festival, and we had played the Cameron House, and it was such an amazing night. And he's like, we need to do this again. So I couldn't really find a venue that was that size. Everything was like pretty booked out. But the Alma Combo had come out because I did a corporate event there a month before that. And I was like, hey, why don't we try this? We were worried we wouldn't be able to sell it out because it was pretty big space. But by the day of our show, we had sold out 200 tickets in the Starlight Room, which was, went beyond all our expectations. So I'm pretty proud of us for selling out that room. And it was just such a magical night. And I love the Alma Combo. So the Rolling Stones played there, by the way.
Yes, they did.
We know that.
Among
others.
They played there with April Wine. That's my
true.
favorite story from that place.
Yeah.
And were you there?
No, I wish. But the story was that the Stones used to play smaller venues under an assumed name just to get ready for their tour.
Mm.
And they were playing, and April Wine was there, and they're like, "Yeah, you're going to be opening for this band." And I can't remember what the name they used, but April Wine's like, "Okay, whatever." And just imagine their surprise when they show up and it's the Rolling Stones.
That was crazy.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I thought that was a pretty cool story, but I have yet to get there. I will get there at some point.
We'll have to do another show there.
Yes, you will, and that'll give me a reason to.
Yeah,
Road
I'll stay in the Junction and then just cruise up to the Alma Combo. Yeah, it's pretty impressive that you did that actually, because I would imagine that it was something that you looked at and was like, this is going to be hard to do, but you pulled it off. So good for you. I mean, that must have been so gratifying and giving you some confidence in your music too. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And I guess it was just a great experience. And I just tried a lot of new things at the show. And I was actually going through all like my band footage from the start of the year. And it's just crazy to see the growth we've had. And a lot of people around me, I'm definitely like an indie artist. They're like, why are you going on tour? It's expensive and this and that. And I was like, well, I want to do this. Like, this is what my life is going to be like. So I'm going to start now and we're going to get really good at it. And we're going to make a bunch of friends on the way, make new friends, meet new people. And that's kind of what we did on this tour. And every single show sold out in Kingston, in Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal. And you just had to go. You just have to do it.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
You say you'd want to do something and then you do it.
Exactly.
It's amazing. I love that. I'm a big manifester. Like, I like to manifest things. So I think that's wonderful that you pulled that off. Amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So besides Taylor, is there a musical collaboration that you would love to do?
Casey Musgraves.
Ooh,
good
very quick.
choice.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Casey. And I think she's similar to me where she kind of rides that line of it's country, but it sways a little bit. It goes a little pop, it goes a little folk. And that's the cool thing about music is like you don't really have to lock yourself into a box. Like I love all kinds of music. And they all have an effect on the type of music that I make. And I guess that's just how I would describe it now. It's like, Casey and Taylor, I guess Kelsey Ballerini, they kind of do that crossover stuff. And that's where I see myself for sure.
Yeah, you don't want to put yourself in a box, right? You want to be able to play what you want to play when you're ready to play it.
Exactly.
It's like as you age or as you change, you may want to try something different, right? So makes sense.
For sure. Yeah.
Do you have any pre-show rituals?
That's a good one. I actually like to do a little workout in the morning or like a steam room just to kind of get the blood flowing. being a vocalist, like vocal health is so important that we're warmed up and we're well rested. So yeah, I like to wake up, get the blood flowing, and I like to eat early because when I get too close to the show time, then I start to forget to eat. And then by the time I'm on stage, which is like 8 or 9 p.m., I'm like, I haven't eaten all day, and then you're just like not feeling great. So I like to eat early and then get ready for sound check, do my makeup, and then we're good to go.
Nice.
Yeah.
I never forget to eat.
After the show, I'm always so hungry because I never eat enough before. So
There you go.
it's like part of the adrenalin, and there's like
Oh
nerves.
yeah, I imagine.
So,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Do you have a process for writing your songs? Like, do you because I know some people, it's just like something comes to them, boom, they write it down, or they talk into their phone and they get the ideas put down there. Are you a person that sets aside time to think about songwriting, or are you just?
Oh, I just lost the light. It's not too dark, is it?
It's pretty dark.
My power just went
Oh,
out.
it just got darker.
Is it weird if I move out to the other room?
No.
Okay, let me just move so we have some light. I don't know what happened. I think the light bulb just blew out.
Light there is good.
We're
How
getting
about there?
We're getting a tour now.
So
We're touring the studio. Yeah,
we're
perfect.
in the studio.
We're
And I
keeping
was
this
actually
in.
just in a writing session, so it's cool that you were just asking about my songwriting process.
Mm-hmm.
So when ideas do come to life, I am definitely the one that has my phone and my notes ready to go. But I also like to set, time aside, and I've actually been doing a lot more co-writing on this project. In Nashville and other places. Right now I'm in Toronto at my producer studio. So we had a writer come in, Andrea, and we were just writing for the past couple of hours. And I also do a lot of writes down in Nashville. I'm trying to learn more about country music, especially because I didn't grow up on it. Like, I want to make sure, I'm doing the records properly. Like, even when I track everything, a lot of the artists that have been playing on my songs, they are based in Nashville, and they grew up on country music, and I'm really hearing a difference on these records. So I'm really excited for the release of these new songs.
That's great. Are you gonna release them as singles and then eventually an LP?
Yeah, so I have 6 that are ready to go. But I'm trying to get an album. Well, I'm gonna get an album done. So doing another writing trip this weekend in Lion's Head. So I booked out a cabin, and I'm just gonna lock myself in the studio, and we're just gonna write in the wilderness. And then we'll do another write in February in Nashville again. And then I'm gonna do some tracking for the songs that I've written already, and hopefully I'll have even more after these writes in Alabama.
Wow.
So I'm just traveling everywhere. And
That's
I think
so cool.
all that traveling is going to help inspire me with some great material.
For sure. Are you one to write down, or do you use your notes on your phone?
So I've been doing Google Docs on Word. What's it called?
Word, yeah.
Yeah. I just kind of share it with everybody, and then we just write our ideas. I'm big on melodies. I'm definitely the melody person when it comes to writes. And the songs, they're all stories. They're real stories that have happened to me or to friends. And that's kind of been my outlet. My whole life songwriting's been my outlet. Because I don't talk much. So my voice is through my songs.
That's cool. Yeah.
Speaking of songs, let's talk a little bit about writing the song Evelyn. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that one, eh?
Mm-hmm.
So there's this woman named Evelyn Dick from Hamilton, Ontario. And do you guys know the story?
I read about it, yep.
You read about it? Okay, so
I'd like to hear the
basically
story.
Evelyn was a murderer she killed her husband and her baby, unborn baby. I think baby. There's a whole trial and case that happened, I think it was in the 1940s. Crazy story, but I learned about the story because I was looking for a condo in Hamilton, and one of the buildings I was looking at was an old restored mansion that they had turned into condos. I was like, this is interesting. I love old vintage things, old buildings, so I knew I had to look at it. And then when I did the Google search on the history of the place, all this crazy stuff had happened at this building. It was housing for when the influenza outbreak was happening. It was all these things throughout the years. But then this one thing that stood out was Evelyn Dick, the murderer. Infamous Evelyn Dick lived here, and she was cheating on her husband at the time, and she would stay in this building and bring all her, her lovers to this place. And there's something so lonely, I think, when a woman has a bunch of lovers. Even though there's a lot, I just felt like she was sad. She wasn't loved. And maybe that's why she did these terrible, dark things. So my idea behind this song was a letter to Evelyn asking, why would you do such a terrible thing? Did nobody love you? But there's a line in that where it says, never mind now that you're lying, okay? Because she was in this trial, and it turns out she lied about everything, and they ended up like clearing her case. She changed her identity. So the premise of the song was, did nobody love you? Is that why you did bad things? Or are you just a terrible person? And that's why you killed him. So I leave it up to the listener to decide what they think of Evelyn.
That's so cool. Do people tend to come with different views on what they hear from your song, or like like different ideas of? Can you give an example or two if you can?
Yeah, for sure. So when I describe this song, sometimes there's like kids in the room, so I try not to talk too much about like the murder and the darkness of it. So I mention Evelyn and what happened. And sometimes they don't even know it's about a murderer. They think it's about a woman who is depressed. And I've had people who love this song so much because they're like, it reminded me of my daughter who had mental health problems. Without even knowing that Evelyn was this murderer. They just thought it was like a sad woman. So the song, the focus is more on that as opposed to, the murder was really dark. Like she had like cut up his body and rolled him down a hill. It was very dark. So I don't actually mention that stuff in the song, but the focus is more on her. Yeah.
Well, if you ever wanted to do like a metal song, you could do like that version.
There's a song that someone wrote about her, and it was like definitely the metal version. Yeah, Evelyn, blood.
yeah, exactly. Roll her down a hill. Yeah.
Well, I've listened to it a few times. It's just a dialogue, right? You're just having like, why did you do that? Like, were you, like she said, were you sad? Were you this? Were you that? Right? Like, that's one of the songs that really stood out on that, on your unrequited LP there. I really like that one.
Yeah. It was it's a
Thank
great
you.
song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's actually going to be a country version of that on the new album.
Of course there will, because country's all about that.
Yeah,
exactly.
and when I've been doing these songs in the rounds, like I got asked to perform at the CMAO's Country Music Ontario and Canadian Country Music Awards this year. Without my country stuff out, I just have been putting myself in spaces and talking to people and telling them, I love country music and I think this is where my music fits. And they all agree, because Evelyn was kind of the first song I would sing in these rounds, and they were like, oh, where have you been? Like, that's a country song.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't produced as one because I was like working more in an indie pop space. And now that I'm in Nashville working with these, country musicians and producers, I'm like, now it sounds like how it was supposed to sound. And, murder ballads are huge in country music. But
yes, they are.
a little bit of a twist of a murder ballad. It's not like, I hate my husband, I'm going to kill him. It's Evelyn's story. It's sad and it's lonely.
Oh, it's great. Mm-hmm. Do you think that being open-minded to that, like to taking like you're not thinking the song is already written and you're done with that, but having the open mind to listen to somebody tell you, hey, you should try this in a country version, and do you think that's going to benefit? I think it'll benefit you big time, but what do you think?
Absolutely. I think, what has really helped my growth this year is it's becoming more of a student of music. I think when I first started, my music career, I was very stubborn in the fact where I'd be like, I would only write alone. I thought my way was right. But now, like, letting more people in, and giving people roles, I've learned a lot from other producers, other musicians, other writers who maybe have been in the space longer, but also have like different styles and different methods of writing. And that's the cool thing about collaboration. I think it's I think, the strongest musicians and artists are like they kind of grow when they start letting people in. I think of Taylor Swift, for example. Like, she used to write all alone, and then, on her latest projects, 1989, she started working with others, and her sound developed, and that's what you get when you work with others.
It's true. Yeah, and I think it only helps. But I could see why you'd want to keep it close, but also maybe being more. It sounds like you're becoming more of a professional. You're listening to others and
Yeah,
being
still gotta feel like
open-minded.
you,
Yeah,
but I'm
of
definitely
course.
like assertive and like this is my sound.
Yeah,
Like I'm leading, those rights and the production, but it's good to have different people on your team and all aspects of the career, like, creative director, management. You can't do everything yourself. You can at the start, but as this grows, you need to bring people on, the right people that share the same vision as you.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're a leader. That's the best
Yeah.
part of it. Yeah, that's good.
Who's your top artist on Spotify?
I think it was Taylor this year. It's always Taylor Swift.
What's funny is we've interviewed 4 people in a row and they've all mentioned Taylor Swift.
It's true.
And it's not like people, like yourself. I mean, I'm not judging that because you're a younger female and she was very influential, but we interviewed a metal band who was like, we always ask what's a weird thing that we would see in your vinyl collection or in your collection of music, which we'll ask you. You can answer that after this, but and he said Taylor Swift, and this is a metal guy. Like, he was just like, Taylor Swift. I love Taylor Swift. So who would be your
guilty pleasure?
Guilty pleasure that we would hear in your sound?
Guilty
in your mix?
pleasure. I mean, there's a couple. If I had to list my top artists, Noah Kahan is another one I like to listen to. Sabrina Carpenter, Casey, like I mentioned earlier. Like a lot of modern rootsy artists. I think I listen to more women than men, for sure. But yeah, just a mix of everybody.
Yeah. Music
podcast.
Yeah.
Got
Weird.
Fleetwood Mac too.
Oh, see, nice. there's a throwback. You just got Gus and his mom.
Yeah, my mom. Yeah, big fan. Plus, like, I mean, every Sunday afternoon, Rumors would be on. It would just be that was just like,
I was reading the background behind that project and all the
intense
drama with everyone dating each other, and then it being called Rumors. I'm like, that's so epic.
Oh yeah, did pretty well too.
Yeah.
Sold a few copies.
Sold a few discs.
Yeah,
yeah. See, drama makes good music.
Yeah, true. Makes good country music.
Pain brings art.
Drama.
Pain brings great art.
Revenge, lust, all that stuff.
Weed with Willie.
Weed with Willie. Yeah. How important is it for you to manifest what you want? Because I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but Gus is a big fan of, like, let's just throw it out there into the universe.
Write it down.
Yeah, he just bought me a journal today as a Christmas present. So
I think it's everything, and it just shows that you really believe that you can get there. And I just think having clear goals and like how you're going to get to that and that the next step is so important. And I think this past year I really started, manifesting and truly believing that, like, I can do this. Because it takes a lot of small steps before you get there. They always say 10 years of work to have an overnight success, and it's so true. No one is lucky. You make that luck, and it's work, and you got to show up every day. And I also think artistry is based on great songs. So write those songs, as many writes as you can, get them better and better, and put them out. I put out so many songs before I really found my sound. Like, I have an album out, I have all these singles, and a lot of those songs, like, I wouldn't put out now, but I had to write them, to write the songs that I'm writing now. And I feel like when I first started, I was trying to, like, wait till the song was perfect till you release it, but you're not going to, like, learn if you don't just do it. Like I was saying earlier with the tour, like just go. And eventually you're just going to get better and better and meet people on the way. It's like I've met so many people that reached out to me because they saw stuff that was happening. And, if you don't put yourself out there, it's not going to come to you. So manifest.
Did you hear that, Doug?
I was listening.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Who did she just sound like?
A lot like you.
No, and it took me a long time, a lot longer than you to figure that out. But yeah, I totally believe that once you write it up and put it in front of you and we'll look at it every day and write about it. And like you said, it's not overnight. It just takes time and continuing to put some effort into it and believing, and everything's going to go your way. So speaking on that, in 5 years, if you had your perfect, 5 years from now, where do you see yourself?
In 5 years, musically.
Yeah.
I think I'll have 3 or 4 albums out by then. I hope so. I hope by that point they're making me money. I'm able to tour. I hope I have a packed festival schedule. Awards wise, I already won my first music award. I won last year. I won Songwriter of the Year at the Mississauga Music Awards, which is regional. So I hope I can win a provincial award and then a national award. Maybe get a Juno nomination. Like these are all I know is possible. You just got to do it. So 5 years, counting now.
Okay, we'll have you back on
In 5 years.
A couple of years.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
When you get the Juno nomination, we'll have you back on. Don't forget about us.
Yeah, maybe even a Grammy nomination, maybe.
And then Grammy nomination.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Dream big, man. Dream big.
Yep. Who's your biggest fan?
My biggest fan?
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple big fans, great supporters, and I've actually made a lot through the country, writers showcases. The cool thing about country music in Canada is like there's some dedicated fans. And I think when I was working in the pop space, there's like so many people and everyone's kind of like trying to be the next, who's a big pop star, Billie Eilish, or, I found that country and even folk is very like community based. And I find like when I'm going to these writers rounds, like I do a lot in Oakville, Burlington, like little dive bars, so divey. But every time I go and sing there, there's this one guy, JP, who comes to all my shows. I got him the merch, set him up. But just like seeing that little community like build, you just like feel great. And I think that's the point of music. It's like every time I sing, it doesn't matter how big that stage is or small that stage is. There's people there that love me and support me, and that's why I make music. And I hope to grow that stage because I think music is so powerful and healing.
You will grow that stage. No more hope.
Yeah.
Will. Sorry, I have to do the manifest thing again.
Mm-hmm.
So when do you think the album will be completed? Mid-year, maybe?
So I have 6 that are like done, like ready to go. And I'm working on another 6. So that's what I'm going to be tracking in Alabama with the band. We're going to do live off the floor. So
Amazing.
the first 6 songs, I kind of just I would go track the instruments separately. So someone would put their guitars, someone would put their drums, get the fiddles, banjo, and then we put it together. So on this second half of the album, I was like, why don't we do live off the floor? So they're all going to be playing together, but they're going to be in their different booths. So they can still hear each other, but we'll still get the clean takes. And there's just something like so cool about a band playing together. And they start playing off each other. And I think you can get some really magical stuff. So that will be the next 6 songs. So hopefully we'll be able to release by the end of the year. But I'm going to drop some singles before I drop the whole album.
Evelyn.
Yeah, country version.
Yeah.
Okay, you're ready for that one.
Oh, I'm so ready for
Dog's
that.
ready. Yeah. So am I, actually. I love that song.
Thank you.
What am I looking at here? Sorry.
I don't know.
I don't know what to do. What is Jade do on her days off when she's not songwriting and playing music?
So, if you didn't know, I'm actually a big tennis player. So I coach tennis at a fancy hotel in Toronto. So that keeps me busy. That is my job, but I do love playing for fun as well. But because I played, sports my whole life, I'd say when I'm not doing music, I try to do like really active things. Um, I love yoga. I love lifting weights. I love running, but my knees are kind of hurt right now, so I haven't been running as much. But anything to like just sweat, like I need to move. So when I get into my long studio sessions and I'm sitting and creating, I don't feel as, have all this energy built up. I can just focus on singing and creating.
Yeah. The knees from tennis, would you say?
It's actually from running.
Oh, really?
During COVID, I was going on these long runs because everything was closed. I couldn't do anything else. And then I guess by month 4 of running like 20-kilometer, long runs, I was like, this doesn't feel good. So I think I got a bit of runner's knee. Not fun, but we'll heal it.
I did a half marathon last year, and because I played sports, but never running sports, like baseball, I guess. But I got plantar fasciitis, and I still have it. I can't get rid of it. It's bad.
Isn't it the worst?
Yeah.
Running. So I don't run anymore. Not worth hurting myself.
Don't blame me.
I only run if I'm being chased.
So never, right?
Who's
Never.
chasing
Nobody's stupid enough.
you?
If you could sit with anyone for an hour, who would it be? Anyone, dead or alive, doesn't matter. Just to sit and to ask questions.
You already know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
Fair
And
enough.
I'll tell you why. Like, she's an amazing artist, but I also think she's an amazing businesswoman. And I think that's kind of what I've struggled with the music industry is like, how do you crack in? How do you like get people to listen? And I feel like even her branding, everything is just it's so well done. Like marketing, A+. And they should do studies on her career because I just think she killed it and she's still killing it. And the longevity of her career, like, it's very impressive.
Yeah.
So I wanna pick her brain. How did you do this, Taylor Swift?
Well, she's brought like millions of viewers to the NFL just because she's dating Travis Kelce, and it's wild to me.
It was planned, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, the NFL has pretty.
Yeah,
good,
the NFL's like,
they're
listen,
pretty good business.
yeah, they were doing okay before her.
Yeah, but certainly a new crop of people have definitely shown up to watch some football, or at least try and see Taylor Swift on TV. What's the worst piece of advice someone gave you when you were starting out?
Trying to think. What? Oh, quit. When are you gonna get a real job?
Oh yeah.
Or have a a plan B.
Yeah. No.
My mom was big on this, and it was all out of love. Everyone's worried like the artist is gonna crash out and be homeless and poor, and a lot of time that does happen. But I also think you can't be thinking like, okay, I'm just gonna do music on the side and hopefully it works out. I think if I had to go and advise myself, it's like, yes, keep working. But you also have to work on music all the time too, and you're gonna be really tired. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now. It's like I am working a full-time job in the day, but my nights are full and my weekends are full. So don't kill yourself either. Like don't overwork yourself, but you do have to put that time in. And it's not something you do on the side. It's like it's a full-time thing. Yeah. So
Don't quit.
go for it.
Don't quit.
Don't quit.
Never quit.
Never quit. When you're putting your album together, how much thought goes into this is going to be the first song, this is the one that follows that one, and this is the one that's going to end the album? A lot of thought go into that?
A little, yeah. I think my process this year Um, a lot of the thought has gone towards the marketing. And I think it's, I'm realizing like what I need to do. Like I used to just write songs and okay, cool, it's beautiful and awesome. But I also think, if you want to be successful, you do have to think about like, you know, where is this song going to be played? Will it be in a movie? Will it be on radio? And, some people say you're selling your soul. You got to just be an artist. But I agree. But to a point, I also think about like, okay, that song needs to be a little bit more upbeat to play on radio. But I do like my slow songs. Like you've heard Evelyn. I love those, those heart-wrenching, beautiful tunes. But I also think about what's going to play in a stadium. Stadium artists, they don't only play slow songs.
No.
Unless you're Adele, who's a rock star. But I think of Taylor and like, I want to dance to her songs. But she also has her slow songs. So I think about that stuff on my album as like having that kind of variety on the project. And I think with this new stuff, there'll be a good mix of songs.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think, living where you live, does that affect your career? Or do you seem like, obviously you're going to different places to write and such, but you think living in Toronto does help, or does, that's kind of a
Yeah,
big
I think for me, I moved to the city 2 years ago, and that's when I really saw a shift and stuff starting to move for me. And I think it's being in a city is just like, there's just more hustle, I guess. I used to live in the suburbs. I was living at home with my parents, just trying to save up money, which was great. I'm grateful I got to save all that. But I also felt like I wasn't growing as a person or an artist because I was just like at home. But now, like living on my own, it's like I'm meeting people constantly. I'm meeting other artists, like industry people, like, Universal Music is like right down the street from my apartment, and I get invited to parties and I can just go to them. And before, I was like going to the city was like a whole thing. You can't just like go. I would have to like plan everything, plan a whole day to do anything. But now stuff just like happens. And also where I'm working now is downtown too. So I meet a lot of people through work and connections that way as well. So I personally think if you wanna, success like excel, especially in an arts industry, like it's good to be in a big city. And the traveling thing, I mean, Nashville is still like a music hub. Like I'm traveling to cities. I'd love to travel to LA eventually too. I know a lot of pop artists are going out there. But yeah, just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like we've talked to a lot of people that Nashville is now the destination that they want to be in. Like because they do have the Music Row where you can go in any bar there and there's somebody playing on stage, and they have their writers circles, and they've got, like all of this talent, like, I mean, with, some of the folks that we've talked to that are down there making big strides, like yourself, are learning from some amazing songwriters, and it's only going to be beneficial for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the thing with Nashville is like everyone's so good. So you just get better because you level up, right? And people are so supportive and nice down there, and I was worried when I first went down there, like, oh, I'm not gonna make any friends. I won't know where to go. And you meet one person, then you meet another person, and then all of a sudden you have this network of amazing, talented people who are all have that same goal in mind. I think when you're around like-minded people, it pushes you a lot more too, which I found in the cities. It's like everyone's like hustling, like I said. When I was at home, everyone around me was like kind of retired or just like, not hustling anymore.
they hustled
that
already.
energy becomes contagious. And I started acting like a retired person. But now I'm hustling.
Good. Yeah, that's good. Well, like, and when you say everybody's good in Nashville, which is great, I'd love to expand on that. Like, do you like get blown away by artists every time you go there? Like somebody that's a session musician or somebody that's a writer. Do they actually like, you're just like, wow. And do you take pieces of that with you?
For sure. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people in Nashville. I wouldn't say everybody is amazing, but you'll see like rock stars just on the street, you know, and they play in like, you know, for big singers, and you'll also see those artists. Like that's the cool thing about I found with Nashville. It's like the rock stars or the country stars. They're still like down to earth in a way, and you'll just kind of see them around in a dive bar. So the one song that's going to be coming out is called Dive Bar. And I was inspired to write it because I was at this dive bar in East Nashville and Casey Musgraves was there just hanging out. And she loves to hang out there. She hangs out at a dive bar. And that's where she started. But she still goes there. And I think that's so cool that you can be, you know, as successful and as she is and still go to the local bar with their friends.
Well, there's a few bars in that city that are owned by like some big names, right?
Yeah.
Like it seems to be the trend now. If you're a big country artist, to open a bar.
Yep. That makes sense.
Well, I mean,
those are
Toby,
all on Broadway.
you know, like Toby
Yeah.
Keith did it. Garth Brooks did it. You know, I mean, I think what's her name, Lainey Wilson.
Lainey, yep, she did one.
You know, so it seems to be a trend. So you know, we'll wait for yours, then we'll make a trip to Nashville.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Jade's Bar.
Jade's.
Did you talk to Casey?
I didn't. Too starstruck. But I was just like, because at first I didn't recognize her. I was like, oh my God, I was like, she's too cool to be here.
Yeah.
And then it was her. And then I follow this Instagram, I think it's called Holler Country. And they posted a video of her like, Casey Musgraves at the dive bar. So I was there before it was like really busy. And then by the end of the night, it was like packed because the rumor was Casey's at the Underdog.
Yeah.
And then it was just bumping because she was there.
Hilarious.
Yeah, you do a second. Is
the
that
bar owner did it? The bar owner was.
Yeah, the guy's on the Casey Musgraves here.
He's a smart guy if he did it.
Oh, seriously, man.
Well, whoever owns the place.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. How long was the process for writing the songs and putting out Unrequited?
Yeah, Unrequited. So that released in 2022. I had released the first singles in 2021. This is Baby Jade, not that baby, but I was pretty young and I was just writing songs, and I love to write and I like to sing, and I had a bunch of songs. So I was like, why don't I just do an album? I'd never done that before. My engineer at the time, who's also my boyfriend now, super supportive, and he told me, I was like, I want to do an album. He's like, okay, it's gonna be a lot of work, but let's do it. So I had worked with a producer named Kenny Muto from Atlanta, and he knew I was like, yeah, I kind of ride this like rootsy like country line, but I'm still pop. The producers in Toronto are very like hip hop, R&B, and I felt like they just didn't really understand my sound. So I was working with Kenny, and we kind of came up with that indie pop country leaning. Wasn't really country, but it did get pushed to a lot of country playlists. I think because my writing is still like country and I twang a bit. So I think that's why I got placed on a lot of country stuff. Didn't get picked up by country radio. Country radio is like very picky about what is country, which I've learned. But I think it getting pushed to country was like a sign for me, like maybe I should try it. So it being my first album, and definitely was a self-discovery album, and I learned so much from it. So I'm ready for round 2.
Cool.
That's nice.
So with Evelyn, you're going to put a little steel guitar in there and a little bit of in the background, just to make it a little more country, because that would just be like, that would flow so well.
We put the pedal steel.
Yep.
I went down there just to watch, our pedal steel player, his name, Dan, who played on a lot of my favorite country records, and he did it on his farm. The horses were running around, and I was like, oh my God, it's like so perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm just listening to him just put this magic down. He'd do like one take, and I was like, wow. He's like, all right. And I was like, it's perfect. Every song is a one take, just like perfect. So yeah, I'm really excited to have it on the Evelyn and all the new songs.
That's awesome. What can fans expect from your live show?
Yeah, the live show. Well, we just had our tour.
Yes.
And I did record, professional videos of it. So that will be dropping soon, like a live video of the Alma Combo show. But I would say like it's definitely like urban cowgirl. Like you can tell I love Taylor and Casey, and I like to like make people dance, but I also want to make you feel something. So it's definitely an experience, and I basically just like spill my heart out, and you get to come on this Jade Hilton's journey.
It's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good way to put it.
Yep, not bad at all. But she does write songs, so she's good with the words.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Trying my best.
I read a post, like you posted something about one of your sad songs that you dropped, and it didn't receive the I don't know, attention or that you thought it would.
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with that?
Do you know which song was it? Was it Evelyn, or was it just
I don't.
one
You
song?
just said it was I put out a sad song and it didn't do as well as I thought it would. I'm not sure what song you were referencing at the time.
It might have been Evelyn.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I first dropped that song, it didn't really get like any, Spotify editorials. Nothing crazy, no crazy attention. And then 2 years later, it started getting picked up on like depression playlists and like this mental health stuff, and people started listening to it. And it's like my most popular song now. And it's just this sad. I think at first people didn't really understand it because it's like, okay, it's a song about this woman who's Evelyn. But then you listen to it once or twice and then 3 times, and you're like, huh. It was one of those songs you kind of have to absorb. So yeah, I think it's one of those songs.
Yeah. I'm sure the country version will go.
Oh, because country's that's the genre, right? For the sad song, especially that style, like you said earlier. Country music is all about that kind of like I could in my head right now I could probably think of 3 or 4 different songs that deal with that kind of like like death and like killing of a spouse because they cheated and stuff. It's just like it's so ingrained in country music. Like the one song that keeps popping in my head is Delia's Gone by Johnny Cash, which is it's a dark song.
Yeah.
But it's like I love it. It's such a great song. But yeah, so it's in kind of in the same vein as that.
I think a lot of people
absolutely.
also don't see it from that point of view. They see it from the other point of view, right? The person that was killed, not the person that did the killing and what they were going through at the time. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But
For sure. No.
yeah.
I like the twist.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good dialogue. Like just like because you're asking why. Like, why are you sad? Is this why you did what you did? Where a lot of people won't see that. All they'll see is like what you just said is like what you did, as opposed to why did you do it?
Yeah.
How did you develop your musical skills? Like, when you were younger, did you play? How did that all come about?
Yeah, my first instrument was violin. And I realized pretty early on that I love to sing and I'm pretty good at it too. So my mom put me in musical theater, and my first role was Molly in Annie, and I got to sing a little solo with the song Maybe. And from then on, I was like, I love to sing. I didn't start songwriting until I picked up the guitar. And that's kind of when I started listening to Taylor Swift. And like I said, she inspired me to like write songs. Taylor can write songs, I can write songs. She can play guitar, I can play guitar. And the second I picked up my guitar, my parents bought me my first guitar for my birthday, and I couldn't put it down. Like I would just be always playing all the time and singing for people. I'd have friends over, I'd post videos, and that love has never stopped. And here I am. I've been at this for a while. Like I've known I wanted to be a singer for a long time.
Yeah. That's cool.
That's good. It's good to have that, that vision to say, yeah, this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
How old were you when you wrote your first song?
I was 14.
Wow.
It's called You're the Only One.
Wow. Okay. Was it about your mom?
It's about my imaginary boyfriend.
I was being sarcastic, of course, but we were gonna get there. I knew it was about something like that.
I figured it was. I figured it was about.
If I say it, it's creepy. If you say it, it's.
We try to stay away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you have any hard copies of music? Because you're of the age where streaming was always kind of available to you. Do you keep records? Do you have any CDs? Do you have tapes? Do you have anything like that?
I don't anymore, but I did as like a young kid. So my favorite singer as a kid was Avril Lavigne. So this is pre-Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift was like 12, 13. Avril Lavigne, I was like 6. And I would listen to her CD every day. Complicated, Skater Boy, all these songs. And yeah, she's so good. Like so good. Such a great writer, great voice, and yeah.
From the area.
From Canadian too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Are you guys from Napanee?
No.
No, we're in Ottawa.
Okay. But
Yeah.
it's like on the way.
I'm from
Sure
from Toronto originally, but I'm
Okay.
in Ottawa, yeah.
Now, I saw this debate. Facebook is great for this kind of stuff. They posted a picture of Taylor's album, and I can't remember. It's like they was pricing it for $80, and people are freaking out because it's $80. And my question was, well, I think it's a double album, right? So there's more than 10 songs on this. There's like 20 or 30. What's the problem?
Yeah.
Just most discs, most albums these days coming out new are $35 to $40.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. But people are freaking out. Taylor Swift, Taylor Swift. That's like, so, I mean, it's a double or a triple. It could be like a triple fold out album for $80, which is a pretty good deal, I think. So,
are you venting or are you?
No, I'm asking a question. What do you
Vinyls
think,
are
Jade?
very expensive to make. I mean, at her volume, it's probably a bit cheaper. But when I, inquired about putting Unrequited on vinyl, first of all, they said it would take like 2 years because they have to prioritize big artists like Taylor Swift. And there's not that many, people making vinyls because it was just, yeah. So everyone's trying to make these vinyls and it takes forever and it's really expensive. So I ended up not making the vinyls, but I do want to do it. I want to do a pink vinyl.
Ooh.
But I'm also like, should I just wait for the new album since, that's what's I'm going to be pushing. And I think this record will be a little bit more commercial. I think it'll get played on radio too. So maybe I'll save the funds for this album.
Do it.
Yeah. We'd take a couple copies of the pink. The pink,
sure.
The pink would look.
I don't have any pink vinyl.
Yeah, the pink would look solid on
It could be
my
so
tape.
cute.
I don't have any pink. I've got some red and some blue and green. I even have a yellow vinyl. I don't have any pink.
Pink Floyd?
Yellow vinyl is Styx, The Grand Illusion.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dog has a lot of vinyl, just so you know. So I have a few, but he has a ton. What do you think the state of the music industry today, and where do you think it's going to go?
Yeah, I was just talking about this with my producer because, with AI and everything that's coming up, it can be a bit like scary saying our jobs, are they going to be replaced? You can AI a song and, I think what they can't replace is the person. It's like, not yet anyway. Like, I still have to go up there and sing to a room of people and connect with them. And, a computer can't replace that.
Nope.
And,
I agree.
And I think even the songs, it's like, you AI a song. I mean, at this point, you can kind of tell. It just doesn't feel like a person wrote it. It feels like, some generic story. So I think as an artist, I think the best artists, or my favorite artists, have a very personal and strong brand that's connected to their songs. And when you go to their shows, you feel like a part of that journey. And you can't fake that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true.
Good
answer. Yeah.
Agreed. Now, which would you think is the better feeling for you, Jade, as a singer-songwriter? Having somebody record one of your songs or being at a show and have everybody in the audience singing it back to you?
Like, what's a better feeling?
Yeah.
I think everyone's singing back at me. Like, everyone learned my song and knows it. That's like the biggest honor.
That's usually the answer we get.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's very cool.
no,
I
it's
would
yeah,
imagine
like
it'd be
you know,
amazing.
as a
You
singer-songwriter,
could stop singing and they're singing it to you. That would be.
yeah, it's
You know,
pretty
it's
cool to watch the
when I did
videos, right?
the show with Schoolhouse. We played at the Rainbow Bistro
Ottawa.
in Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
Such a cool place. That was
Yep.
one of my favorite shows. The cool thing about Ottawa, I feel like when people go to the show, it's like the coolest thing that's happening in town, and everyone's like super into it.
Totally.
You know, I feel like in Toronto, there's just like so much going on. Like Taylor Swift was playing down the street the night of our show. But when I went to the Rainbow Bistro, it was like everyone in town, and there was people that like didn't know us who came because they just love live music.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a girl who I've never met before who was singing the words to every single one of my songs. And I was like, oh my God, like, do I know you? Like, how do you know all my music? I talked to her after, and she's like, yeah, I just like saw you were on the bill, and I loved your music. And she listened to all of them and learned all my songs before the show. And that was just like the best feeling ever.
That's one of the good things about Spotify too, is when you know, like there's a bill coming up, like you said, like with Schoolhouse and what was the other guy's name?
Clay Hasty.
Yes, because I looked those up because when we talked to Schoolhouse, I was like, okay, who are these other folks that are playing with them? And I did the same thing. It's like you start to listen. Okay, I really like this. I really liked his stuff. I loved your stuff. And Schoolhouse, well, I mean, you have that opportunity with Spotify to do that. It's probably one of the better things about Spotify.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
I mean, your connection to a bigger audience is
Yeah.
there for sure. And Ottawa is like that. It is a big city, but it still has that small town feel, which is lovely about it. I love Ottawa. For
Agreed.
that. Toronto, my sisters all live there, so I go there quite often, and I just find I can't drive there anymore. I take the train because you get to Ajax and you're an hour and a half to get to downtown. So I'm just taking the train to Union and getting out of there. We ask a question to every guest, so it's a couple decades of music that we both enjoy, one more than the other. But if you were to pick a decade of music, either the 80s or the 90s, which one would you choose?
I can't say 70s.
No, because everybody loves the 70s.
That's why we didn't put it in there. 60s and 70s are not included.
Yeah,
because
exactly. No. We all love that. That wouldn't be fun because everybody says 70s.
When I think of the 80s, I think it's the beginning of pop music. Like that's when it was like shining.
Michael Jackson.
Like synthesizers, like all that kind of came to life. So I think I would say 80s. I mean, I'm a 90s baby, but I didn't really grow up in the 90s. I was pretty young. Yeah. Since I love pop music, I'm going to say 80s because it really changed music.
Boom.
Yeah, dogs 80s, I'm 90s, but yeah, I still like the 80s. I love Michael Jackson, so you know.
It's we cherry pick different things from the decades that we like. He's a big Michael Jackson, that kind of fan. I'm more like the mainstream rock, and also just the stuff like the stuff that came out of England at the time. Like I always say the Fix because that's one of my favorite bands of all time.
I love the Clash. I love Sex Pistols, even though they started 70s and went into the 80s.
But the 90s for him is more hip hop. For me, it's country.
I like hip hop.
True. Yeah. Hip hop. I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I forgot, but when I first started releasing music, everyone in Toronto is hip hop. But one of the producers I was working with, Tone Mason, and he worked with Jay-Z and Drake. So I was I should have been around country people, but all I was around was hip hop. That's all I knew. So, hip hop I definitely have a love for hip hop.
Yeah.
Toronto girl. So.
Yeah, it's true. Toronto is like sort of a thing, and maybe that's where I get it from. But the 90s hip hop to me is the greatest era of hip hop. So that's one of the things.
It is.
Yeah.
So now I might have to say 90s.
No, can't change it. No, sorry. Already said 80s.
Similar on it. 90s.
No, can't change it. No, that's the rule.
It's fine. It's okay.
It's okay to have an appreciation of both. It's all good.
Yes, of course. So the album you're expecting by the end of the year, do you have some shows lined up all the way through 2025? What's your next one?
Yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. So I'm in the middle of festival applications. So the new year is in 2 days, so I got a lot of hustling to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I have a couple, just my standard. I do a couple cover gigs, help pay the bills.
Of
So I have a
course.
couple of those in January, and February I'm going down to Nashville. Probably do some writers' nights, stuff like that. And then, summer is always the big festival season. So
You can get to
that's my
Blues
goal to
Fest.
get some good bookings there. So I'll keep you guys posted for sure.
Well, we'll be following, so anything you post, we'll see.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks, guys.
Blues Fest would be cool.
Yep. Apply for that.
Yeah, I'm going to apply for that.
Folkfest.
There was someone at Rainbow Bistro who connected me with the director, and he's like, send him your stuff. So I would love to play Ottawa Blues. So
Yeah.
Or
if you're
Folkfest.
watching,
Yeah, if
guys
you're
do
listening
that.
here, hey guys.
They listen to our show for sure.
We've got somebody for you.
Yeah. Well, Jade, thank you so much for your time. We know you're busy, so we appreciated the hour that you gave us, and Happy New Year, and we hope for big things for you going forward.
Happy New Year, and thank you so much for having me. This is
Yeah.
so fun. So stay in touch.
Okay, sounds
we
great.
will.
Sounds great. Just stay with us a minute.
Doug and Gus, Doug and Gus, Doug and Gus.